My friends and colleagues, I look forward to seeing you soon. I will be sending along tonight and throughout this morning to come a series of important statements and briefings and speeches that I hope you take to heart and consider as discussion topics for when we meet in person. I look forward to our collegial relationships for years and decades to come. Let's go help solve the problems of the world together. Thank you.
At its definitional root, as far as I am concerned, founder, first instance, if you will, it's the presentation or self-presentation, in this case, of a person who desires to launch a career into public service, an initial public service offering. That's how I mean it and define it in my lingo that carries forward the best traditions of basically the financial equivalent of solid governmental peer review for basically a commitment to serve the nation as a whole or the citizens of a state or city. One can imagine that an IPSO could be the subject of a new mayor for Salt Lake City, for example. And I hope that this model is employed as such by other aspirants in the future to federal, state, and local service to their towns, their cities, their states, and the federal government can use the best and the brightest as well. I heard some disappointing news about the recruiting rate for the Army of our 6 branches now of the military, that we were suffering from a recruitment pause for the Army itself. Now, I will tell you, my friends, particularly my young graduates to be from every university and college in this great nation, I so wish that I had taken the opportunity, now that I reflect upon my life, to have joined the Navy, and I would have been an admirable admiral today. My friends, it takes a lifetime experience to earn such a title, and I'm one who has it in my own special way, having served from the private sector. But you have, if you're listening to this message, in any university town, any college town in our great nation, you can rest assured that I will be looking at the nation's recruitment numbers for the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. The United States Space Force. And let us not forget the valiant Coast Guard, the Department of Homeland Security, including the Coast Guard, and we will make resolutions to refine the organization of these 6 branches of what I expect to propose to be renamed officially as our Space Force launches its first command center in low to near Earth orbit, the hexagon, indeed. Sign up, my friends, who are coming into or just about to decide how to come out of college. Do yourself, do your nation proud, and consider joining the United States military as a recruit. And I look forward to seeing many of you in that pursuit, as I would and will in my own way at the top. So, good luck and sign up this year to join the United States military. I'll lead you, and so will our great nation and the world. We have extraordinary plans ahead, and I salute you.
Precursors to the multi-million-dollar machines that we built in the recent decade.
You.
and 0-3-1, an experiment that is a great high school project for future budding physicists and engineers who would like to create a future for our civilization that's inevitably ahead. My friends, I send this message to you by way of an expression of gratitude for the extraordinary extension of good faith and trust that, particularly in the past few months, has been robust in the lending of capital at high interest, if I may say, but for good cause. The original genesis of the reason I decided to run for president, when I stepped aside into a different role in the information economy and back into physics engineering, was to see this day happen. Because the technologies that have been pioneered, not only by me, of course, but by many others, including some recipients of this message, are profound. The technologies ahead are indeed sovereignty challenging technologies. They're the kinds of things that are so sophisticated that for the first point, in the wrong hands, let's say in the wrong hands of parties like we see in Hamas in the Middle East, or even more mild versions of such atrocious terrorists, cannot be given, lest we have a whole new category of weapons of mass destruction, rather than works of mass construction, which is what I'm about, and why I decided to run for president, to deploy vastly more advanced versions of the relative toy that nonetheless works and demonstrates new physics. Those advancements are why I believe I am required in the next White House. They are part of a category of extraordinary developments in human affairs brought about in the IT sense since the birth of the semiconductor in 1947, no less, and in physics with the rebirth of what I would call neo-Newtonian physics that unify effectively all branches of theoretical physics and ultimately experimental physics into a common understanding of how nature's forces actually work. More generally, the experience that I bring to the White House to come, I trust and hope, will be self-evident, and I know of no single cabinet department from the Department of Defense, for which it's obvious, but for Treasury, Health and Human Services, even Veterans Affairs, and obviously energy, transportation. Every single cabinet department has opportunities and challenges that require scientific and technological expertise at the top, including warfighting, as we see the most advanced carrier groups that our nation possesses, including the Gerald Ford carrier group fleet on its way, now dropping anchor near the Middle Eastern hell zone that we best prevent from turning into an all-out war zone. My friends, it's time for me to just underline a key point that should be obvious to each of you, but I'll say it nonetheless because I know you'll appreciate it. I affirm my responsibility to do the very fastest and best job I can to lead this nation into
the new millennium with peace, justice, and enlightenment for all.
Vermage for president.